everywhere. So, and by just a quick look at the Quran, we'll find out that there were 3 prophets. Sulaiman, Salamullahi alayhi, he was a prophet. He was giving prophecy in his age of 10. Yahya alayhi salam, وَآتَيْنَاهُ الْحُكْمَ صَبِيًّا. We gave him the hukm, the prophecy, the risalat, when he was just a boy, a young boy. And we have Jesus, Isa alayhi salam, and he was a prophet even when he was an infant, or even when he were inside the stomach of Maryam salamullahi alayha. So when it comes to the prophets, we have 3 young prophets, very young prophets. And when it comes, when we talk about our Imam salamullahi alayhi, we have 3 Imams who were giving the imamate when they were only very young. One of them is Imam Javad, salamullahi alayhi. He was giving the imamate when he was just only 7 years old. And then we have Imam Hadi alayhi salam, who also became Imam when he was in the age of 7 or maybe a bit less. And we have Imam Mahdi Ajjalallah, who became Imam after his father, Imam Hassan al-Askari salamullah alayhi, when he was only 5 years of age. So you see, that phenomena didn't happen from the beginning of Imamate. Amir al-Mu'mineen died when he was 63 years old. Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein, but what is the purpose of that? It's just to make people accept this idea, to train people to accept the imamate of a young boy. Because there will be a time when you have to accept the imamate of Imam Mahdi, who's only 5 years old. And that also is a beginning for the ghaybat of Imam alayhi salam. So it's just like make the Shia, make people used to this idea. So that's why Imam Jawad was giving the imamate in the age of 10. So is there a problem? It could be a problem to accept the imamate, not only of a young boy, the imamate of everybody. There must be an evidence. And the evidence of imamate is the mu'jiza, it's the miracle. So when there is a miracle, you accept the prophecy of Isa alayhi salam. When there is a miracle, you accept the nubuwwat, the prophecy of Sulaiman alayhi salam, of Yahya, وَآتَيْنَاهُ الْحُكْمَ صَبِيًّا. So if Imam comes with a miracle, that's enough. We accepted the prophecy of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa by the miracle and by the miracles, because he didn't have only one miracle, a lot of miracles. So when Imam Jawad comes with the miracle, then there is no reason, because God will not let miracle happen in the hand of whoever. It's only those who were chosen by God. God supports them by miracle. So that's the way we accept that. That's the way our brain is programmed to accept that. God created us, and God knows how this brain is working. We need the mu'jiza, we need miracle, and here's the miracle. So what is the mu'jiza of Imam Jawad alayhi salam? From the early stages of the life of Imam Jawad, there was a miracle after a miracle after a miracle. And that's why Shia in that time believed in it. Even those who were not Shia were stunned by those miracles. And the first, the one of the earliest, of course, there were even many earlier mu'jiza for Imam, but we start when he was in the age of 7. Ma'mun Abbasi was the Khalifat in that time, the king of the empire. Ma'mun, the son of Harun al-Rashid, one of the sons of Harun al-Rashid. He was going to hunt. They go for safari, hunting, and then on his way to hunting, Ma'mun see some children, some young boys playing, and there was a boy with them. And once he came closer, they said, wow, this is a king, this is the Khalifa, and his soldiers and his ministers, everybody, huge. So they just run away, escape, because they fear the king. This only boy standing didn't move. Then Ma'mun came, well, oh boy, why didn't you escape like the others? He said two things. One, the way is wide enough for me and for everybody. So why should I move? Second, I didn't do any sin. I didn't do any wrong thing, so makes me fear or escape. Wow. Then he asked him, who are you? He said, I am Muhammad ibn Ali, ibn Musa, ibn Muhammad, ibn Ja'far, ibn Muhammad, ibn Ali, ibn Hussein, ibn Ali, ibn Abi Talib. Then Ma'mun goes on his way, but he was still thinking about this boy. What kind of a boy is this? But he knew him. He's the son of Imam Ali. How doesn't he know him? He killed his father. He just killed his father a while ago. Then when they go to the hunt, they have falcon. You know falcon, this very strong bird. And they release the falcons, and the falcons go on their fugitive and bring it to the king or to the owner of the falcon. So this falcon goes away and then comes back with a small fish. It's a desert. Where did this fish come from? You know, sometimes a very strong storm can take the water and take some fish with it and go on the sky, and the cloud, then goes somewhere, you know. And we are not surprised because some of those clouds we see are so heavy, they weigh tons of tons, thousands of tons. Sihaban thiqal, even in Quran it's written, Sihaban thiqal, very heavy clouds. So we are not surprised if a small fish goes up. And then the falcon came on the hand of Ma'mun with this fish. So Ma'mun grabbed that small fish, put it in his hand and closed his hand. In the way back, he asked Imam Javad alayhi salam, you boy, what is it in my hand? He said, when Allah bring the storm, and the storm takes the water, and the water, the fish within the water, and it goes up in the cloud. And the cloud moves to another place. Then the rainfall with this fish, and the fish is taken by falcon, and the falcon comes to the king, and the king grab it in his hand to test the awliya Allah. So that was a test, and the miracle make Imam Jawad succeed in this test. And Imam Jawad is greater than these things. We don't need all of this talk. Imam Jawad is an imam. So Ma'mun always had a problem with the Abbasis, with his family, because Ma'mun he wasn't a beloved son of Harun al-Rashid, because he was a son of a Persian slave taken by Ma'mun. Ma'mun married that slave, and he got this boy which called Ma'mun. So he wasn't a pure Arab. And the Abbasi people always wanted the Amin, the brother of Ma'mun, to be the Caliphate and the king. So there was a fight, there was a big conflict. And as the result of that conflict, Abdullah al-Amin, the brother of Ma'mun, was killed by Ma'mun. But Abbasi, they have something in their heart against Ma'mun. They always wanted to get rid of him. So what he did when he brought Imam Ali Musa Rida, the father of Imam Javad, the purpose is to make that balance. You Abbasi, you think you have the legitimacy of the Khilafat because your grandfather is Al-Abbas, the uncle of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he threatened them by the real legitimacy of Imam Ali ibn Musa Rida, because the real Khilafat, the real Imamat is with the Imam Ali ibn Musa Rida. So it's kind of balanced. That's the politic of Ma'mun. To make that balance, to threaten, if you do anything against me, the Khilafat will go to Ali ibn Musa Rida. So that's why he made him the crown prince, the Waliyul Ahd. But you know, when the popularity of Imam Rida grew up, he killed Imam Rida. And now the same game, the same politic, tried it with Imam Javad. He brought Imam Javad, he make that marriage between his daughter Ummul Fadl with Imam Jawad to put this threatening the other Abbasis. If you do anything, this will be the Khalifa. So just stop it. But the Abbasi, they had their thing in their mind. And when he told the Abbasis that he's going to give his daughter to Imam Jawad, their first objection was, this is a young man. How could you do that? And tomorrow you will make him the crown prince. And after tomorrow, he will be the king maybe. So how you begin that now? He's only 9 years or something at that time. He said, you don't know these people. These people, Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam, they are alim. They are supported by mu'jiza from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, let's test him. Let us test him. Who's going to test him? The Qadi, the judge, Yahya ibn Akhkam. He was alim, he's got knowledge more than the other Abbasi, and they brought him in front of Yahya ibn Akhkam, the judge Yahya ibn Akhkam. Okay, ask. He asked Imam something, and Imam answered him. Then Imam said, can I ask you for that? He said, yeah, ask. He asked him, let me ask you, Yahya ibn Akhkam. And Ma'mun is listening. He's very happy about this, because it's within his political game. Tell me, Yahya ibn Akhkam, there is a woman, there is a man. In the morning, this woman was haram for him. He doesn't have even the right to look at her. It was in the morning, haram. Then in the dhuha, between noon and morning, like 10 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock in the morning, she became haram on him. It was haram, she became halal. In the noon, like when the Salat al-Dhuhr, it became haram again. In the Asr, she became halal to him. In the Maghrib, she became haram to him. In the Isha, Namaz Isha, it became halal to him. In the midnight, she became haram on him. In the morning, next day, she became halal for him. So tell me, Yahya ibn Akhkam, how can he answer this? He said, I give you the answer. And Yahya said, teach us, please teach us. Because when you are unable, you're gonna play another role. Yahya ibn Akhkam play another role. He's humble, he wants to learn something. So Imam Salamullah alayhi qal, she was haram for him because she was jariya, slave, owned by somebody. So So you don't have the right to look at her. You not the right to get close to her. And then in the duha, like 10 o'clock, as I said in the morning, he bought that slave. So she became milkul yamin. He owned her. So she became halal. Then at noon, at 12 o'clock, he free her, make her free. Like you buy a slave, Imam Zayn al-Abidin salamullah alayhi, we're buying slaves, then free them. Teach them, make them mu'min, Shia, and some of them became alim. So he freed that woman. So there is no relation. She became haram on him. She was just ordinary woman like any other woman in the street. You don't have the right to look at her by somewhere, somehow. And then in the Asr, like 3 o'clock afternoon, he married her. So she became halal to him. Then in Maghrib, he ظاهرها. ظاهرها is kind of punishment before. It's not used now. A man, when he get relation with his woman somehow broken, he said, he doesn't give her a divorce, but it's almost like a divorce. He say, أنت علي كظهر أمي. You are, for me, you are like my mother. So once you say that to your wife, then she is haram. You cannot touch her. And unless, so she became haram. He told this woman, after he married her at 3 o'clock, for example, then in Maghrib, he said, أنت علي كظهر أمي. She became haram on him. Then he paid kafara. Kafara is either you free a slave or you get fasting, siyam, roza, 60 days. Or if you cannot, you pay 60 poor people, you give them food. So he paid the kafara. She became halal on him. So when he paid the kafara, everything is normal. She's halal for him. Then in the midnight, he divorced her. Said, you are taliq. She became haram on him. Then in the morning, he returned her. So she became, because what is called the talaq raj'i is when you say to your wife, anti taliq. In the reality, she remains your wife, but you cannot touch her until she gets that time after like it's not exactly, but like 3 months, let's say, because it's measured by another thing, but let's say like 3 months. Then after 3 months, she became totally strange for you. If you want to get back, you have to make a new agreement, a new aqd nikah. So within that raj'at, if you just say hello to her, or you smile to her, or you say, oh, where are you, come on, then that divorce is deleted. So the divorce doesn't get reality until that period, which is it's the purpose that people would not play by these things. It's kind of, so she became halal to him when he brought her. Everybody was surprised. Everybody was surprised. How does he know all of these things? Then there was another munadara, another dialogue between Yahya ibn Akhkam. I will not read all of this, so don't get worried. But so
the night is so long.
Alhamdulillah. So Yahya ibn Akhkam asked Imam Jawad again. He said to him, if a muhrim, when we go to Hajj, there is a big area around Mecca. When you get out of Medina, you know, between Medina and Mecca, it's around 500 kilometers. So when there is a big circle around Mecca, from the side of Medina, it's just you go out of Medina, it's called Masjid al-Shajara, it's only a few kilometers out of Medina. Then this miqat, they call it miqat. You cannot enter, if you are going to Mecca, you cannot enter unless you do this ihram. You do the niyat, when you ihram, you get these white sheets on you, the ihram, and you begin some of the prohibited things. You cannot do this and this and this and this. So one of those things which are not allowed when you pass this area as a muhrim is you have no right to kill animal inside this area. So he asked him, Yahya ibn Akhkam, what if somebody killed an animal inside this mantaqa which is called Al-Haram? It's a big area, it's many hundred kilometers, it's very big. So he asked this innocent question, but he asked the Imam. And then the Imam began to ask him, I hope I find it, yes. He said to him, did he kill him? He's a muhrim, but sometimes muhrim can go out of this area, which is called the hill, which is allowed everything. So did he kill him in the hill or inside the haram? Was he aware or he was ignorant? Did he kill that animal amdan, on purpose? He knows what he's doing, or just khata'an, by mistake? Was this Haji, who was muhrim, was he slave or a free man? Was he small, young, or old man? Was he repeating that killing, or he was beginning of the killing? Was that animal min dhawat al-tayr, flying, or just like another things? Was it a small animal or a big animal? Was he, did he regret that? Or he's just standing for his position? Did he kill it in the night or in the day? Because each one of this is not a game. Each one of this has got its own hukm, its own fatwa. Was it Umrah or Hajj? Because in Umrah you do that ihram, in Hajj you do it. So again he said, what shall I say? Then Imam answered that thing. The thing is, when Imam, why Ma'mun have this standing? I said it's a political game, but there is another side of the case. I hope you are not, the speech is not boring. The people, the Abbasi people, ask Ma'mun, you became Shia maybe. They ask him that. You became Shia. But something, it's because the personality of Ma'mun was something is complicated. So in my belief, he was a hypocrite. But those who around him, they think he became Shia. And they say to him, why do you do that? He said, my father, Al-Rashid, whom all of the Abbasi respect, he taught me to be like that. They say, Harun killed the Imam Musa ibn Ja'far. He killed a lot of Alawi people. How you say he taught you to become Shia? He said, one day we were going to Hajj. And in Medina, we had a camping. And then Imam Musa ibn Ja'far entered the place. And once Harun saw him, he stood up for him. He hugged him. He kissed him in his forehead, between his eyes. And then he gave him his seats. Then he sat in front of him as if he wanted to respect him, to learn from him. And then the majlis, the star of the majlis was Imam Musa al-Kazim alayhi salam. And Harun was sitting like this. And then Harun asked one of us to give him a small thing. They put the dinars, the gold in it. And then there was 200 dinars in it. He said, I was very surprised. Why gave him 200? It's not a big amount of money. Then when he stood up to leave, then Harun stood up and respect him again, hug him, and he said to his sons, Ma'mun, one of them, go with the cousin of us, because somehow they are cousins, and go and follow him and serve him and help him to get on his horse and put his feet or his shoes in the stirrup. They call it stirrup. When you stand on the horse, you put your feet in something just to keep everything steady, you know. And it's called in Arabic rikab. Rikab. Okay, and put, so that's a humbleness. It's a big humbleness. You don't do it with anybody to put his feet in the rikab. That's a big respect to him, and say goodbye to him and come back. He said, Ma'mun said, Imam Musa ibn Ja'far came closer to me, not to the others, and he said, you're gonna be the Khalifa after your father. So please don't harm my son, Ali ibn Musa Rada. But he promised him, but he didn't fulfill that. Because these people are mixed with khiyanat. They don't keep their oath. And then he said, I came back to my father and asked him, first, you gave him 200 dinars, but you gave some unknown people, unimportant people, you gave them 5,000 dinar. He said, you idiot. If I give him like the others, tomorrow he will bring an army of 100,000 sword and he will take my kingdom. And then they say, why all this respect? You say to him again, you idiot. These people are the ancestors of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And they are alim. And they were giving the imamate by Allah, and they are the best people in the universe. But the kingdom, the hukum, the authority, I cannot be humble with anybody. If you, Ma'mun, my son, if you do this with me, I will take your head. I will behead you. So just be careful. Al-mulku aqim. Aqim, it's like some people, they don't have children. They are aqim. God didn't give them children. So they're aqim. He said, the mulk, the sulta, the kingdom is aqim. When it comes to sulta, we know no son, no brother, no one. That's why they killed each other. So then there was another majlis. And it's all, you see, it's all mu'jiza for Imam Jawad to tell all of these things, because it's impossible for anybody to answer all of these things. And the evidence for that is that the best intellectual person was Yahya ibn Akhkam. He couldn't answer any small question of these things. So this is one of the mu'jiza. One of them is, and some people, their brain is too small. They cannot tolerate this fact. They don't accept it. There was somebody who wasn't Shia, but he was a respected man, and he had a good relation. He respected Imam Jawad alayhi salam. And they were walking by the side of the river of Dijla in Baghdad. They were walking. And then this man asked Imam, he's not Shia. He said, well, we respect you, we like you, but some Shia, they believe unbelievable thing about you. He said, like what? He said, they think that you know everything. Even you know how many drops in the river of Dijla. So this is unbelievable. Why do they do that? This is ghulu. Ghulu, exaggeration in believing of somebody. You know? Like some people do ghulu, that believe Allah is Ali ibn Abi Talib. That's a ghulu. That is not allowed. That's wrong. So we do ita'at to Amir al-Mu'mineen, but we do ibadat to Allah. Subhanallah. So he said, look, this is what I'm saying. Yes. I imagine that you are a good man, but listen to this. If the information about how many drops in this dictionary. This is information. Let's say a figure with so many zeros. I don't know, trillions, whatever. That's information, that's equation. Does Allah able to put that information, the answer of this question, is Allah able to put that information in the brain of an insect? Does he or doesn't he? Is he able or... If you say he's not able, then you are saying Allah ajiz, unable. If you say he's able, Allah able, qadirun ala kulli shay. Allah qadir ala kulli shay. There's nothing. Allah created more complicated things than this, beyond our imagination. He said, yes, Allah qadir. He said, I have more respect in front of Allah. Allah loved me more than an insect. Respect me more than, gave me everything, gave me imamate. So this is a small thing in front of all things God gave me and gave the other imam. So he couldn't answer anything. So then the dialogue continues, and sometimes they just ask the childish thing. You see the level of their knowledge, and when you see the unlimited level of the knowledge of Imam Salamullah. He asked, well, there is a known, in that time, there is a known hadith that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Jibreel to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, and Prophet came and said, Assalamu alaikum ya Rasulullah. Allah yusallim alayk. God send you his salam and his blessing and ask you, Allah is asking you to go to Abu Bakr and ask him, are you satisfied with me, with Allah? Are you satisfied? There is a hadith like this. So what do you say about this? Then Imam Javad sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. He said to him, Rasulullah in the Hajj has told all the Muslims, سَتَكْثُرُ عَلَيَّ الْكَذَّابَةِ. There will be so many liars who fabricate hadith and put it in my name. Do you remember that? Do you know that? He said, okay. He said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran says, أَقْرَبُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ حَبْلِ الْوَرِيدِ, which is called the jugular vein. The jugular vein. So Allah is so close to us, closer than this. So Allah doesn't know about Abu Bakr. Allah is close to everybody, including Abu Bakr. Allah knows everything about Abu Bakr. He knows everything about everybody, about every insect, about every creature. So how does Allah doesn't know about this, and he sent Jibreel all the way from the sky to earth and asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Prophet goes and asks Abu Bakr, what is this childish idea? Allah, what does he do with Abu Bakr? Is it important that Abu Bakr will be satisfied with Allah? So this is one of things. And then the last thing I will stop at here. They said to Imam Jawad alayhi salam, what did you say about? What did you say about this hadith which says Abu Bakr Sayyidu Kuhuli Ahlil Jannah? Abu Bakr is the master of all of the elderly people in Jannah. Then Imam again said to him, you know Muawiyah, he paid a lot of money for people like Samara ibn Jundub to fabricate hadith. Because these people, they have a big problem with the reality. Because everybody, Sunni and Shia, believe in this hadith that Al-Hasan wal-Husayn Sayyida Shabab Ahl al-Jannah.
Subhanallah.
So when these two Imam are the Sayyid, the master, the best of the young people in Jannah, it means that they are the best in the dunya, in this life, because you cannot be the best there, but you are not the best here. So the best things. Of course, we have another hadith which says that Abuhuma khayrun minhuma, that Amir al-Mu'mineen is greater than Hassan wa Hussein. So that we don't talk about this, but let's talk about Hassan wa Hussein salamullah. So when these people have this reality, so what will happen to the Khalifa? The first one, the second one, the third one. What will happen to those Ashara al-Mubashara bil-Jannah, the 10 who was told by, they say it's nothing like that. And they say they were told by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that they will be in the heaven. So what will happen? Because that's a dilemma. So they created hadith. They paid money, Muawiyah paid money, and they created this hadith that Abu Bakr is Sayyidu Kuhuli Ahl al-Jannah. So this in front of this. And that is false. Why? Because there is another reality that's undeniable. Hadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that in Jannah everybody will be youth, young. There is no elderly people. What do they do? Elderly people, what do they do to themselves in Jannah? They see the Hurul Ayn and they just get sad to see it because they cannot do anything. What do they do? The elderly people, they do nothing. And they say that there is a hadith about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was, the Rasul, he saw an elderly woman, an old woman. And she asked him, shall I be one of the Ahl Jannah, the paradise? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam joked with her. He said, no, you will not be one of the Ahl Jannah. And she got very upset, and say, no, you know why? Because you will not be like this in Jannah. You will be changed to be a young woman, then you will be, because in Jannah there is no old people. Everybody will be young in a certain age. So how you put this hadith that Abu Bakr is the Sayyid, Kuhul, the old people, he's the master of the old people in Jannah. That is a false one. So that was astonishing to these people. But, you know, the same political game which makes Ma'mun bring Imam Ali ibn Musa al-Rida from Medina, then made him by force, made him a crown prince, then he killed him. The same game repeated again, but this time it was followed the same game by the Mu'tasim, the son of Ma'mun, who asked al-Fadl, the wife, the daughter of Ma'mun, the wife of Imam Javad, she was one of his wives, and to put the poison for him and kill him. And that's how it's ended with a young man in his 25th years of old. Imam Jawad was very young when he was Imam, and very young when he was killed and poisoned. نسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يرزقنا شفاعة الإمام الجواد سلام الله عليه. نسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يجعلنا من المتمسكين بولاية أمير المؤمنين. اللهم إنا نسألك بفاطمة وأبيها وبعلها وبنيها والسر المستودع فيها. اللهم فرج عنا يا الله، اقض حوائج المحتاجين، شاف جميع المرضى، ارزقنا شفاعة محمد وآل محمد. آخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين.
اللهم صل على محمد.